We are finding that the coronavirus is highlighting and exacerbating structural and institutional forms of racism and racial inequalities in Europe. I work for ENAR, which is the European Network Against Racism, and I'm also a PhD candidate, and I document and analyse racism and racial inequalities across Europe. Through our data collection, currently at the moment, we are collecting data on the impact of the coronavirus on racialized groups. Over the last month, maybe 6 weeks, we are seeing that the data is showing that there is a significant impact on racialized groups, but it's the structural forms of racism and intersectional forms of racism that we've known about for a long time that are coming to the fore. And in the UK, there are already studies to show how racialized groups are more likely to die if they contract the virus. So the reasons for this are multifaceted, but I would argue that they're predominantly structural, they are institutional, and also intersectional. We see how racialized groups are often working in these jobs or sectors that are now seen as essential. Perhaps they're working in the health sector or they're working as cleaners, but maybe they don't have the ability to take time off. Obviously, maybe not to work from home. And maybe their employers are not providing them with adequate personal protective equipment. And there are other structural factors that might lead to ethnic minorities and racialized communities contracting the virus more than other groups. Perhaps their living conditions or housing limits their capacity to self-isolate if they have the virus. Other precarious factors could be income inequality, precarious employment opportunities. All of these factors I would describe as structural, some of them institutional, and they do not help when we are facing a pandemic such as this. These structural inequalities can also be a reason for the prevalence of comorbidities in some racialized groups. So stress, poverty, pollution can lead to diabetes, asthma, obesity, which when you or if you contract the virus, it can be more dangerous for those groups. What is also striking is how little we know about the coronavirus and its impact on health and racialized communities, which also mirrors in some way how little we know about structural racism and institutional forms of racism. Because there is a real lack of data in the UK, in the US, we can see clearly the impact of the coronavirus on groups, but it's not so clear on those groups in other parts of the EU. And speaking to our members across the EU, which is really the main way in which we are collecting data, they are telling us that there are significant structural and institutional forms of racism that are exacerbating the coronavirus problems. But these are the most difficult forms of racism to document and analyze. And this brings me to my closing point, really, which is to say that the impact of the coronavirus will be felt, of course, by all of us for a very long time after the confinement measures have been lifted, after we've gone back to work. At this moment in time, the economic impact of the virus is yet to fully manifest for most of us. But what we do know, what research has shown, is that during the economic recession of 2008, racialized groups were hit hardest, and it took the longest for those groups to come out of the recession. So I am concerned that this might be the case for the coronavirus, that racialized groups may be hit hardest again in this crisis, and it might take the longest for those groups to recover. Now, if we are really to address some of the structural and institutional forms of racism and racial inequalities, we have to seriously challenge and reconsider what these structural inequalities are showing us, and reconsider what the capitalist order and principles so far have brought us to.